Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I want to talk about shooting position. Okay, basically, what position do you stand in while you're shooting? Now, I'm a big believer in being able to shoot effectively from any position that you find yourself in. And if you guys search my channel, you'll find videos of me shooting from on top of a ladder, hanging from a rope. So I do believe in being able to shoot from whatever position you happen to be in, but we need a base position that we need to pick that we want to shoot from in under ideal circumstances. Okay, what position do we want to be shooting from when we do have that choice? Okay, so the two most common positions are the horse stance, right? Where you stand with your feet side by side. All right, right. Basically you're bending your knees slightly, leaning forward towards the gun, and what you're doing is you're basically pushing into the recoil so you can manage the recoil. The problem that I have found with this is that because your knees are bent, you're using your quad muscles here, after a while you'll get tired. Okay. The position that I typically favor is basically the boxing position, right? Where your foot is one of your feet. If you're right-handed, your right foot's going to be back. If you're left-handed, your left foot's going to be back. Left foot, in my case, left foot back. Legs mostly locked out, okay, and basically leaning slightly forward, so the power is coming from your legs straight up through your body. The nice thing about this position is because my legs are locked out, right, I can sit here for a whole hour shooting, and I'm not really using my leg muscles. My bones are just basically resting on top of each other, so I can stand for very long periods of time like this. And what I found is that this is the position I started using when I first became an instructor, right? And the reason is because as I was traveling around to different ranges, I started training people. I realized that a lot of times I have to have somebody in a shooting position where they're basically, I'm giving them instruction while they're holding the gun, and they need to be able to stand for a long period of time in that position, while I'm giving them instruction. Whereas if I have them in a horse stance where the legs are bent, after a while they're going to start getting really tired. So that's the first reason why I favor the boxing stance with your one of your feet slightly back. Now, if you need to, you can also squat down, so you can gain the benefits of the horse stance position if you need it, and then come back up in order to rest. Okay, so that's the first benefit. But there's a second one. But before I get into that, I want to thank my shooting buddy Ben for this wonderful Christmas gift that he gave me. This little mic that you see here, right? Which I think is going to work out great for you guys watching this, because basically this was a Christmas gift for me, a Hanukkah gift for him, and basically it's going to help out these videos because you guys can hear me better without me needing to be close to the camera or facing the camera, right? I can look this way, and you guys can still hear me, which was not the case before. And especially in this video, I needed to back the camera out so you guys could see my feet, all right? So that would have been really hard to do without the mic, especially given the fact that it's a little windy today. So thank you very much, Ben, for this wonderful gift that you gave me. Look forward to having to training again with you soon. So moving on, the second reason why I favor this boxing stance, right? The second reason is because this is more like my boxing, okay? My martial arts background, right, is I've done lots of sword fighting, right, with swords, right, both blades and sticks to simulate swords. I've been doing that competitively for about 16 years, okay, and I fight at a fairly high level at that. But I've also done some boxing, and I used to own a gym where I would teach boxing, and the boxing stance that I would teach is basically like this. Basically that's your boxing stance. So here's the thing when it comes to gunfighting, okay? When you think about gunfighting, you don't always go straight to your gun, right? A lot of times you're going to start off with words, then you're going to go to you're going to start with words, then you go to screaming, then you go to fists, right? Then you go to weapons, all right? So, and then maybe you go back to fists, right? Because maybe you get into a grappling type of situation, right? So you might go from hands to gun to hands, maybe back to guns again, right? So I want to use a stance, and I want to use techniques that are that are fluid, that can adjust to my needs. So the way I train, right, arms up, right, I'm fighting like this, right. From here, I don't have to switch my feet to get to my gun and come out and shoot. So it's the same thing, right? So fighting with guns, fighting with hands, same thing. Fighting is fighting, right? Doesn't matter what if you're using your hands or you're using some weapon, any weapon, knife, gun, whatever. You're gonna be in that same position, right? Feet gotta be in the same way. The other thing is that once you introduce movement, your foot position is really important, right? So one of the things when we're talking about movement, right? What I teach people is whatever direction you're moving in, that foot moves first. So if I want to move forward, the front foot moves first. If I want to move back, the back foot moves first. If I want to go left, left foot moves. Right foot moves. So basically, I want to be able to move, right, and my feet stay in the same position, right, always coming back to, so I can go to gun, go to fist, do whatever I want, but my feet are never together, right? You never want to get your feet together because then you come off balance, right? You always want to have that basic fighting stance, okay? Now a lot of times, because I mentioned boxing, right? I told you guys that my basis for my is boxing, for my martial art, even the sword fighting. That's a lot of times when we teach people sword fighting, we teach them think of how boxers box, right? So and same thing when I teach boxers, I tell them, well, think of the sword fighters, how they fight, because like I said, fighting is fighting. People, as long as people have two legs, they're gonna move the same way. They're gonna have the same concerns about balance. Okay. Now, a lot of times you watch these professional boxers box, and you see them doing a lot of this bouncy shit, right? A lot of this bouncy shit. They might be bouncing around, but their feet are still doing the same thing, right? They're bouncing around, but their feet are landing in the same position. Bang, bang, bang out there, right? You hear the gunshots in the back. So you got to start somewhere, right? So when I teach people boxing, I don't teach them to start bouncing around and stuff like that. I just teach them, the main thing is stay balanced. Stay balanced, right? And then you can move around. And later on, we can figure out what kind of a boxer you're gonna be, what kind of a fighter you're gonna be. Now, let's expand a little bit upon this, right? Because I was saying, really important. Gunfights usually don't go straight to guns, right? Sometimes they do, right? Because there's three types of situations I can think of. One is where you've got like a lot of warning, right? So somebody's breaking into your house, you hear the door breaking, the windows breaking, you know what's going on, right? You got a chance to you got a chance to prepare, right? You're well prepared. The other type of situation is where you're caught completely off guard. You're coming around the corner, and somebody just jumps you, just completely unaware. So that's the other type of situation that you have to fight out of, right? So one is you have plenty of preparation, plenty of indication of what's going on, right? The other one is where you have none, and the other one, which is in the middle, which I think is going to is the most common, especially if you're thinking outside of the house type of situation, right? The other type is where there's an escalation. The escalation is basically you're fighting over a parking spot, or somebody's basically upset that you took their shopping cart, or somebody's mad because they think that you looked at their girlfriend, right? Completely stupid stuff, whatever it is. But you get this escalation that basically typically will go from words to shouting to fists, and then maybe to weapons, okay? And then maybe back to fists, right? Because maybe but that's an escalation, and I think that's probably the most common that you're likely to encounter outside of your house, okay? So for this reason, I tell people you have to have an option beyond just using your gun, because let's talk about that escalation for a second, right? You got somebody insulting you, right? And here's the thing. So if somebody insults you, right? I mean, the first thing that kicks in is your pride, right? You feel that, hey, this guy just insulted me. he called me this or that in front of whatever, my friends, my family, in front of this whole store. I need to answer that, right? So you're gonna answer that back. But now you're thinking with your pride, right? You're not gonna let this guy just call you whatever, you know, whatever he calls you. So you're gonna verbally answer that. So then you see that this guy is gonna keep going now, right? So he's continuing on with this. So at this point you start thinking now, okay, wait a second, where's this going? All right, where's this going? And now, because now there's thinking going on, because you're actually thinking, you're in the process of thinking what's going on, where's this going. You're starting to think, is this worth it, right? Or at least you should be starting to think, is it worth it? You're starting to think, how far am I going to go with this? Am I going to actually get into a fist fight right here, in the parking lot or in the middle of the store? Is that worth it, right? Do I want to get myself arrested, right? We're not even talking about guns or weapons here, just simply for fighting. Do you want to have that hassle? Do you want to end up having to go through the courts? Do you want to take a chance that your local sheriff might pull your carry permit because you got into a fist fight with this dude? Because now, they don't want to deal with this crap. As far as they're concerned, you're both guilty, okay? So do you want to deal with that, right? So these are the things that you're starting to deal with, okay? But maybe you don't have a choice. Maybe this person puts his hands on you, right? Shoves you, pushes you. Now, at that point, are you at the point where this person is a deadly threat to you, right? Chances are no, all right? It's probably not going to go there, right? It's not going to go that far in like most of the time. That he's probably, realistically, right? We're being realistic. Realistically, he's not looking to kill you, but you do need to be able to defend yourself, which is why you do need to have some training in some hand-to-hand fighting, all right? You do have to be able to respond with a non-lethal option, right? Because, hey, maybe this guy just went, he's in your face and he's flicking your nose. He's doing this to your nose, okay? I mean, you're not going to shoot him over that, right? I mean, that is something that deserves a response, right? Maybe you can slap him or something, but that doesn't deserve him being shot, right? So, maybe he's spitting it. Maybe he's spitting your face. Is that now something that he deserves to be shot over? Probably not. I mean, in most states, you're not going to be able to convince a jury that you needed to shoot that guy because he spit in your face, all right? And you're not, and I don't think you're going to be able to make a convincing argument that there's a possibility that he might have COVID or AIDS or something. I just don't think it's going to work, okay? I mean, that may vary from state to state, but in most states, I don't think that is going to go too far with a jury. So one of the reasons I tell people you have to be able to use your hands, you have to be able to defend yourself if you're in the fist fight, right? You can't just escalate from fist fight to guns. You can't be the one to escalate because you're gonna get in trouble, right? And you gotta be thinking, right, where's this gonna go? All right? Do I really want to end up, putting the rest of my life in the hands of the court system? Right, that's one of the things that you got to consider. And again, you got time to think about this, right? There's a lot of things going through your mind while this argument is happening. How far do you want to go with this? But maybe you don't have a choice. Maybe you see that this guy is really pushing it. Maybe you can see that he's starting to clear his clothes, right? To maybe get to a weapon, right? Maybe that's what's happening. While all this is escalating, what you should also be looking at is where are the other people, right? Because maybe what you need to do is, if you're standing here and you've got this guy there and you've got a crowd behind him, maybe you need to casually start moving to here or casually start moving to here because you know that there's no people behind them over there. So you need to start positioning yourself. Maybe there's a car or something that you can put between you and him, right? So these are all things that you need to start thinking about. Maybe you got a nice tree here. Maybe I need to get behind this tree, right? So you've got legs, use them, right? Use them. And I'm not saying start running, right? And I'm not saying turn your back to this person, but start using your legs. Don't trip yourself up, right, as you're walking away. Again, this is where a lot of that martial arts training is going to come in. You got to be able to move, okay? So going beyond that now, we go to guns now, right? Or we go to knives or whatever. You might have a situation now I'm gonna talk about this more in other videos where we get into the gun grappling, where he goes for a knife, you go for your weapon. He sees that you've got a better weapon, right? He's got a knife, you got a gun. He starts going for your gun, right? He drops his knife, now he wants your gun. You gotta be able to deal with that. You gotta be able to, to retain your gun and fight your way through that. Now, there's not that many martial arts schools that deal with gun grappling. Some of them do some of it. But what happens a lot of times, if you have a martial arts training, you can take some of the stuff that they teach you and start applying it to that type of a situation. So, because now you got a basis to work off of, okay? So, again, going back to shooting position, right? This is the main point of this video. You want to be in a position where you've got options, okay? This is what this video is all about. I want to be in a position where I've got options, where I can go from fists, right, to gun, right, back to fists, right, as I need to. Okay, now let's talk about fists for a second. Okay, a lot of times when people think about getting into a fight, they're thinking of knuckles. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys an example I've seen many times, because I think I mentioned it earlier. I used to own a gym. I've trained lots of people in boxing. I had other people working in that gym. Oh, by the way, I had some Muay Thai guys in there, right? The Muay Thai guys, the stance that they would take was side by side, hands up like this. They're doing a lot of this stuff, right? So they're working off of that horse stance. If that's the type of training that you have, by all means, use that stance. All right? If you're a Muay Thai guy that fights like this, then that's the stance you want to be in when you go to your gun. So that's going to also be your shooting stance. So I'm not saying that this is the one and only way. Whatever martial art you're training, whatever stance they use, that's the stance that you're going to use when you shoot your gun. Okay, so that's an important thing. Now, moving beyond that, talking about fighting, many times in my gym I would see people come in and here to check out the gym. I'd see them, no training, right? They would go up to the speed bag. The speed bag is this little bag that kind of hangs off of this wooden platform. The purpose of this is basically just to work on your shoulders. So you sit there, boom, 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 boom. You're working a pattern. You can pretty much close your eyes and hit it. It's not even a hand-eye coordination thing. It's just a matter of just keeping your shoulders up, okay? It's all shoulders. But they don't know that. So they see the speed bag, and basically they want to hit it, right? So they go up to the speed bag, and I see them wind up, and take this huge wind-up shot, and they swing at the bag, and they miss, okay? They miss because they're not used to doing that thing. So a lot of times people have this misconception that they're going to be able to throw a good punch on demand when they need to throw that punch, okay? And that's not the case. Unless you've been training to throw punches and hit things, right, as they're moving around, you're not going to be able to do that on demand, okay? So for that reason, when people would come into the gym, and sometimes they would tell me that, hey, I just want to come in for like 3 or 4 sessions to just learn some basic self-defense so I can handle myself, okay? That's fine, right? They're not coming in to be boxers. They're coming in for basic self-defense, stuff, right? They just want to learn how to handle themselves. So I'm not going to basically teach them to fight with their fists, because that can't be done in just 2 or 3 sessions, okay? I have to teach them something else that's easier for them to learn. So what I teach them, I teach them to basically fight from this position here with their hands up, right? And hit with their palms, right? Boom, 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 okay? Couple of reasons why I do that, okay? First of all, this area over here, your jawline basically, right? Connected through your jawbone, goes up to this really sensitive spot underneath your ear, okay? The jaw is the main target area for boxers. That's why when they box, they're basically protecting this area here, right? You can get hit up here. The other guy more likely to hurt his hand before he breaks your skull or knocks you out from up here. He has to hit this area over here. This is the knockout zone, okay? It's almost electric, right? It goes up through this line over here into your ear, knocks you right out. It doesn't take a whole lot of pressure. A kid can basically hit you hard enough on the jaw, knock a guy like me out. Okay, so it doesn't take a lot of pressure. So that's an important thing, because everybody that comes to me, right, they think that they're gonna hit as hard as possible in order to knock somebody out, and all they're gonna do is miss. And also, if they're swinging from back here, they're telegraphing a mile away. The other person's just gonna move out of the way a little bit. Because if you think about it, if you see somebody coming at you swinging their arms, you're just gonna move out. You're just gonna move. You don't have to move a lot. You're just gonna move out of the way, and it's just gonna go right by you, or it's not gonna hit hard enough. So what I teach people to hit with the palm to the jaw, because first of all, they're not gonna think to come back here, right? Since they were a kid and they're fighting with their siblings, right, and their friends, when you push people, right, if you're gonna push somebody, right, you push from here, right? So I'm bypassing all that other garbage that they've been seeing on television by having him go from here. It's faster. Your hands are traveling a shorter distance. You're basically, because you're pushing, right? You're not thinking of hitting, right? You're thinking of pushing, right? So you're gonna basically naturally take this stance so that you can push, and basically you're gonna get that part right here under this line. I mean, I'm just tapping myself, and it's like it's giving me a freaking headache, That's your target area. And the other thing with that is, when you do that, your arms are up, right? So if you push it to somebody's hand like that, right? As I do that, my hands are up. So if they start swinging at my hands, my arms are in upward defensive position. And also, they're going to stay up there, because if in my mind I'm thinking of pushing, well, what's the next step after that? You're thinking of pushing again, right? And if you're a beginner, an untrained person who thinks of punching, right, after they throw that punch, first of all, they're going to swing all the way over here, come all the way around, right? And after they throw that one shot, their arms are going to come down, and now they're wide open over here, okay? So there's a lot of stuff to unlearn when it comes to punching, okay? So with the palm stuff to the face, after you throw that palm stuff, your arms are more likely to stay up here, and now you're better defended, okay? So again, but look where my feet are, right? Boom, right? So from here, now if the situation requires it, this guy's going for a knife, you're in a position where you go to your gun, all right? So I want to use a shooting position that's going to scale, that I can use from hands to guns, back to hands, back to guns, and it's going to work at every level, right? And like I said, as you move, your feet need to end up right where you started off, so you can do the thing again, right? Boom, right? So as you're moving, feet are always ending up in that same position, okay? So something for you guys to think about. I am planning to do another video that builds on this, where I talk about some big stuff out there. I am planning to do another video that covers fighting over a gun. All right, fighting over a gun. So look out for that video. I think it'll be very interesting for you guys. So yeah, basically click the subscribe button, hit the bell button so you get the notifications. Drop some comments below. It helps the algorithms. Tries to spread this information around to people. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon.